Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to USVA SOL Review by Standard. I'm glad you keep coming back. That means that you're finding these videos useful, and I do hope that you continue to watch the rest of the videos and that they are helping you prepare for the SOL. Today, we are going to be talking about Standard 7D. That is the political effects of the Civil War and the economic impacts of the Civil War. Like we've said before, Civil War is a huge topic. There's lots of stuff, so that's why it's split up into these three different videos. The video you watched before, this one, and another one that will be coming on. Here is the snapshot of what you do need to know as per the state of Virginia. So go ahead and take a look at that, and also this one as well. As you can see, lots of stuff to get through, even within this one subsection of the standard. So without further ado, let's get right into the meat and bones. Alright, political effects. After the Civil War, Lincoln sort of believes that the U.S. was one indivisible nation that had prevailed, right? Coming back together, the South coming back in with the Union. And again, Lincoln's not going to be very harsh. He says secession was illegal. Southern states never actually left. So why are we going to be harsh on them when they're trying to, quote unquote, come back into the country? Reconstruction was a fast attempt to get Southern governments back in the Union and loyal. That's what Lincoln's thoughts on the matter are, is that it's going to be quick. Let's do it quickly. Let's get it over with. We'll rip the Band-Aid off real quick and everything will be fine. We should not punish the southern states. By punishing them, you are going to be just dragging the conflict on further. We came back together. Let's all sit around and sing Kumbaya. Famously says, and Virginia wants you to know this, with malice towards none, with charity for all, to bind up the nation's wounds. He says this in his second inaugural address. Only a couple of months before he is killed, but what he's saying here is, don't be mean, do not punish the southern states, we're going to help them, we are going to rebuild. Not only are we going to rebuild physically, but we are going to rebuild those relationships so that we can become one great country again. More political effects. Well, like I just mentioned, Lincoln is going to be assassinated, and this happens only a few days after Lee surrenders to Grant at the Appomattox Courthouse. Not real cool for the instability that is the United States at the time. This enables radical Republicans in Congress to influence Reconstruction. Without the leadership of Lincoln and with the poor leadership of Andrew Johnson, the radical Republicans are going to be able to do just about anything that they want. They're going to be much more strict on the South. They're going to build military occupation zones within the South. Yes, that means Union troops going down there and essentially babysitting the Southerners. Now, for good reason. They set up things like the Freedmen's Bureau and all of these things to help out newly freed African Americans, which we're going to get to in just a little bit. And they are going to be protecting the African Americans' rights, but they're also there, and it's a sticky situation. Nobody wants to have that going on. 3 Civil War amendments that are added to the Constitution are the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments. 13th bans slavery, 14th gives them citizenship as long as you're born in the United States, and 15th gives universal male suffrage. The easiest way to remember this is free citizens vote. Free is the 13th Amendment, citizenship 14th, vote is the 15th. Free citizens vote, 13, 14, 15. Get that into your head. You'll get 3 answers on the SOL just like that. All right? Let's move on. More political effects, of course. Reconstruction ends with a close election in 1876. Democrats and Republicans still fighting over political issues. The North is dominated by Republicans. The South is dominated by Democrats. The popular vote is so close, and actually the Democrat Tilden is going to win the popular vote. However, that's not what's eventually going to happen. Rutherford B. Hayes and Tilden, neither of them win a majority in the Electoral College, but what ends up happening is a nice little bargain behind closed doors. Rutherford B. Hayes, the Republican, though didn't win the vote, gets to get into the White House. In an effort to compromise with the South, the Union troops are removed from the South, thus literally ending Reconstruction, though there is going to be much more stuff going on in the South to rebuild, especially in relationships. This enables former Confederates to run the Democratic Party again, and they're going to sprout up in the South very quickly after this. And with that, they say, hey, we'll listen to the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments, but we're going to pass our own set of state laws that are essentially going to shoot those African Americans right back down into the depths of society. All right, let's move on to the economic impact of Reconstruction and the Civil War. Southern states are left devastated by war, not only physically, but economically as well. Their complete economic foundation is taken away from them, and therefore it is going to be hard to get into a new routine of work. Railroads, farms, and cities are left. There are not too many railroads in the South at the time, but whatever was there was definitely destroyed in Sherman's March and in all the fighting that goes on during the South. Farms, some are left there that are still workable, but many farms, especially on the east, the far east coast, are destroyed. Big cities, Atlanta, Richmond, are in ruins. Those need to be rebuilt still, even after Reconstruction has happened. Confederate money is completely useless. Remember, Confederate money had such high inflation during the war, and then afterwards, literally, it is not legal tender anymore. So Confederate states are left poor as well. Change in labor. There's no more slavery, right? So slavery is completely taken away, and all of the lives that are lost, all those people cannot be in the workforce either. So complete and utter destruction of the economy in the South. They are going to remain an agricultural society, but it's going to be the poorest section of America for many decades after this. Industrialization does not hit many cities until the 20th century, and in some spots today, in 2016, it is still an agricultural society with little to no running water, electricity, things like that. Other things, the North and the Midwest after the Civil War are going to merge with strong and growing industrial economies. This leads to rapid industrialization before the 20th century, and it's going to lead the United States to become an international powerhouse by 1900. The Transcontinental Railroad is going to intensify westward movement, pushing Native Americans off, which we'll get into in the next standard, and we're going to move all the way out to the Pacific Ocean. All right, as promised, we'll get our activity in for today. Why don't you take a minute and answer these questions, and we will get the answers in about 10 seconds. Well, number one is given away by the picture. That is Abraham Lincoln saying those words. We talked about this earlier, so hopefully you can get numbers 2 and number 3 correct. What speech is this from? Anybody know? Yeah, very good. It is from the second inaugural address. I mentioned that earlier. Hopefully you were listening and hopefully you remembered. Number 3 is a little bit more complicated. What is the message he is trying to convey? Well, guess what? I gave that up already too. What he's saying is we need to repair the relationship between the North and the South. It doesn't matter that they illegally seceded from us and we fought this war where 600,000 American lives were lost. We need to come back together, restore the Union. By the way, Lincoln wanted to restore the Union. That was his main goal. And he wants to use his leadership for good here. So he wants to bring the South back in. He wants to get that relationship back together so that we can get past this and move forward to try and fix everything. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is Standard 7D, the political and economic impacts of the Civil War. Again, hope that this helped you in your studying for the SOL. And again, good luck. Hope you come back. Hope to see you again. Bye now.